What is up, guys? So we've got the new Magistus archetype that have just been announced. I think they're going to be in Genesis Impactors as well, which is quite nice. We've already got Drytron coming out of that, and then we've got this, and there's going to be one other archetype announced in December, if I remember correctly. But yeah, this archetype is really cool. It fulfills in the lore of Alistair the Invoker, of the Endymion archetype a bit more, and so it's nice. It's a lot more kind of lore and story into the Yugioh mythos, which is always nice. They have got quite a few nice cards as well, so I'm going to quickly read through all the cards and I'll explain the build that I'm doing with them, as you can see on my screen. But as you can see, we start off with Magistus Grimoire Crowley, which is basically like, it seems like the younger good version of Alistair. His effect is you can send one spellcaster monster from your hand or face up field to the graveyard, special summon this card from your hand, declare an attribute. This card becomes that attribute until the end of this turn. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one Magistus monster you control, equip a Magistus monster from your graveyard to it, except a level 4 monster. You can only use each effect of Magistus Grimoire Crowley per turn. You can only use one of those effects per turn. Yeah, each of those effects per turn. So, what I think would be so cool, though I'm almost 100% sure this won't happen, is if somehow they would make this searchable by Alistair the Invoker, or if they made this an invoked monster, but I don't think they will. But it is really, really cool. So as you can see, I mean, already this is going to be an insane archetype with invoked, because this basically means that having this in your hand and having Alistair means you can have any invoked fusion you want of any attribute, because all you do is normal summon Alistair, you send the Alistair that you sent to grave with this, changes attribute, and now you can have anything. So this is great. And that's not the only card in this archetype that really, really strengthens the kind of invoked play. So invoked is definitely going to be a deck this is really good with. Moving on, we have Magistus Master Endymion. So he is a water. Crowley was a dark, so Endymion is a water. You can target one Magistus monster you control, equip a Magistus monster from your extra deck to it, target a face-up spell you control, destroy it, and if you do, draw a card, then place a card from your hand on the bottom of the deck. You can only use each effect once per turn. So his effect, I'll be honest, isn't anywhere near as good. I haven't really seen kind of the huge strength of it yet. It is nice that you can equip the kind of plethora of Magistus cards to him, which is nice. This also is another way to dump random monsters in your graveyard. But his mulligan effect isn't the best. It's a bit it's not ideal, because you have to destroy a face-up spell you control first. But anyway, yeah, we have him, so we can move on. We have Magistus Ver Cindrilion. So I also forgot, it also mixes in with the Witchcrafter archetype as well, which is quite cool. They were already linked to Endymion a little bit, firstly from the city that they were in, and then also because one of the Witchcrafters seems to be the servant of Endymion. But anyway, yeah, Cindrilion's effect is, if this card is normal or special summoned, you can activate one of these effects, add a Magistus spell trap from your deck to your hand, or return a banished level 4 or lower spellcaster to the graveyard. Then you can banish this from the graveyard, target a Magistus you control, equip one Magistus monster from your graveyard to it, except a level 4 monster. So again, this is a really good card. We always like searcher cards like this, and it also recycles any banished level 4 lower spellcasters. I mean, this archetype already just has a lot. It can do so much, and it synergizes so well with invoked. So it's definitely going to be another card that we like playing, and she's light, which is great. So easy Macabre plays once again. Then we move on to their spells. They have some very strong spells. So they have Magistus Invocation, which is really cool. So this seems to be like the good version of Invocation. So instead of banishing monsters from the graveyard, this effect reads as follows: fusion summon one fusion monster from your extra deck, use monsters from your hand or field as fusion material, including a spellcaster. If summoning a Magistus fusion monster this way, you can also use monsters in your spell and trap zone that are equipped to a Magistus monster as fusion materials. So this is a really, really interesting effect. So instead of banishing from graveyard like Invocation, you're going to be using equipped monsters sometimes. However, it also has the limitation that you do have to use a spellcaster. So I mean, it's not like Invocation where you have to use Alistair. You only have to use a spellcast, which gives you a much wider range of cards this can be used with. But it is still a little bit of a limitation on the archetype. But again, like I said, this is a really, really nice use spell. It's also generic, which is a lot better than Invocation. Invocation is only generic when you use materials from the hand, whereas Magistus Invocation is generic, allows generic materials when you're using from the hand or field, as long as one of them is a spellcast, which is great. Moving on, we have, I can't pronounce this, is Vitrita Magistus. But yeah, basically target one level 4 or lower Magistus monster in your graveyard, special summon it. If a Magistus card in your spell and trap zone would be destroyed by an opponent's card effect, you can banish from your graveyard instead. So this card, to be honest, it's just a good card. There's really nothing to say about it. Reborns any level 4 or lower Magistus, and then on top of that is protection for a Magistus card, which is great. And that's what's particularly nice, because it means that any of the equipped monsters in your spell or trap zones plus the continuous spell and their field spell, or not field spell, sorry, the continuous spell will be protected as well, which is wonderful. Then they have their quick play, Yugioh Magistus. So target one Magistus monster you control, equip a Magistus from your extra deck, field, or graveyard to it, except a level 4. Or if you have one of each Magistus Fusion, Synchro, XYZ, and Link in your graveyard, you can equip one non-Magistus Fusion, Synchro, XYZ, or Link from your extra deck instead. You can only activate one of these per turn. So this is, again, this card isn't perfect, but it is still strong because, again, you're just getting any material you want. So this essentially functions as the ability to get any Magistus equipped that you want, so you can bring out your Magistus Fusions really easily. And you have to remember, again, you're putting these in the graveyard afterwards. So for example, in an invoked Magistus deck, you're going to have so much potential because first you can fuse on the field with your Magistus invocation, then all those materials go to the graveyard for you to invocation again with, which is just wonderful. Really, really nice card again. And then we have their continuous spell, sorry. So that is Tris Magistus, and it says the first time each Magistus that is equipped with a equipped card would be destroyed by battle, each turn it's not destroyed. You can only use one of these following effects per turn. So you can either special summon a level 4 lower spellcaster from your hand, or you can send this to the graveyard and special summon any number of Magistus monsters with different names from your hand. So this is a pretty nice continuous spell. Again, it's got a nice special summon effect, so it's rarely going to be dead in the hand. Or so you can either special summon one of the cards, or you can special summon a bunch of them by sending it to the graveyard. So again, I mean, I'm really, really impressed, to be honest, with this first wave of Magic support. I'm assuming that a bit more will be coming. But yeah, I'm really, really impressed just because, I mean, every card in here, I think it's worth playing at least one. Probably the weakest you could look at would probably be Yugioh or Endymion. But even those, I can see you playing them at one just because they are all pretty good cards, which is always nice to see. Moving on from that, we have their extra deck. So, and this is probably the best card in the archetype, in my opinion, just because not for Magistus, but actually for Invoked. So it is a Link 1 light spellcaster, and it simply says as materials you need one level 4 lower spellcaster. So I feel like the days of Secure Gardener and Almirage are over. This completely pushes that out of the way. I mean, there are some advantages, obviously, because Almirage allows you to go to Purgatrio, but I mean, with these new Magistus archetype, Crowley means that you can just put a fire on field anyway, and everyone plays Ash Blossom anyway. Purgatrio, you're rarely bringing that out on turn 1 or 2. It's not that often because you're usually saving it until you have a chance to OTK, so it's not that deep that you're losing Almirage. I can really see people playing this instead of that package just because it takes less slots. And then also has a nice effect, so you can only special summon this once per turn. If another Magistus monster is normal special summon while this is on the field, you can target one of those monsters, equip this card to it. While this card is equipped to a monster, you can add one Magistus monster from your deck to your hand. So again, that is a really nice effect because it's going to search any card that you want, any Magistus monster from your deck to your hand, which is lovely. And then it's a Link 1. We always like Link 1s just for that free advantage. Moving on, we have the Xyz monster, Magistus Goddess Ninaruru, which says as follows: a monster equipped with this card can make 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. You can only use each of these effects once per turn. Detach one material from this card, target one level 4 or higher spellcaster monster in your graveyard and add it to your hand. While this card is equipped to a monster, you can target one Magistus card in your spell and trap zone, and one spell or trap your opponent controls, destroy them. So this is a nice card, just has a plethora of pretty nice effects, and it's not too hard to bring out. Just you need 2 level 4 spellcasters, a deck filled with them that can special summon them out really easily. You can definitely get this out. Then we have their Synchro. So they haven't got their tuner yet. We are still waiting for their tuner, but the tuner is generic, which is nice, so it isn't going to be too hard to bring out, and it's level 8. Level 8 in generic means super easy to bring out. So a monster equipped with this card cannot be destroyed by your opponent's spell or trap effects. You can only use each of the following effects of Magistus, Dragon, Vathram once per turn. If the Synchro summon card is destroyed, you can destroy all face-up cards your opponent controls. At the start of your damage step, when a monster equipped with this card battles your opponent's monster, you can destroy that opponent's monster. So this Synchro, I would say, is definitely better as a equip than anything else. It doesn't really have any amazing effects other than the ability to nuke your entire opponent's face-up board, but that effect is not going to go through most of the time. So it's mainly the strength of this card is going to be that when it's equipped, I mean, it's going to mean that that monster can't be destroyed by spell or trap effects, and then also it's going to pop monsters at the start of damage step, which is lovely. But this is still, and it's fire, which is nice because that's going to enable more Purgatrio plays as usual. Then we have Magistus Saint Iwas, or Iwas, whatever. But anyway, yeah. So during the main phase, quick effect, target one face-up monster on the field, equip this card to it. You can only use this effect once per turn, and if this is equipped to opponent's monster, you gain control of that monster, and it gains 1,000 attack and defense. So this is another really good card, basically kind of like a pseudo mind control. What's particularly nice about this effect is that because it's going to equip itself to your opponent's monster as a quick effect, it means that you can chain it in response to stuff. So perhaps your opponent wants to use a card to destroy a card in your field, so that you can just steal that card, or perhaps your opponent brings out a combo piece they want to use, you can just steal that card with this, which is really, really good. So this is another strong. All of the extra monsters have this kind of theme where they're much better as equipped spells, which I guess is the point, because this is an equip focused archetype. But yeah, that seems to be the kind of thing about them. Most of the extra monsters, apart from the Exige, you're not going to want to just summon randomly. Most of the time you just want to equip them to a monster. And as far as I can see, there isn't a limit to how many you can equip to one monster. So one monster equipped with a bunch of these is going to be very, very nice. So as for the deck profile, so I've gone with a kind of Dragma invoked build with this Magistus archetype. I just think it works really well. I've also added in the little bit of that Shadow package just because it's busted. The Shadow package is very strong in Dragma. The ability to bring out Shadow window on your opponent's turn and just deny them from basically playing the game. And then just a standard invoked package. Ratios definitely are going to need to be worked out, but I would say this definitely works good already. Like, I've tried in a few games, and it's just there's so much synergy between these archetypes. What's even better is, again, you're sending all of these extra deck monsters to the graveyard, and then that's going to be fuel for your Dragma cards to play off. And then you've also obviously got the natural Dragma kind of flooded list for the effect Veiler. You've got the Maximus to send cards, and you've got the Ecclesia to search all the Dragma cards. I mean, in general, this is a really, really strong build, I think. Already, I think there's not going to be a lot of tweaking required, but I'm definitely looking forward to testing this archetype out a lot more. So guys, I'm definitely going to have another Magistus build out for you in the next few days. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.